Trying to look behind my shoulders, I stagger, almost stumbling face first into the thick snow. My lungs burning all over, and the frigid weather of this late winter couldn't be harming me more, even if it wanted to. The sounds of the beasts hunting me completely fill these woods. I'm desperate, still looking for a place to hide, but even if I manage to take shelter, I don't see it as plausible that I can rest there for more than a week. It's been years since the government shelters were discovered. To call them a mediocre attempt at defense is an understatement, although it's not as if we had any other options, did we? Made in haste upon learning of the imminent arrival of our exterminators, a desperate attempt to survive. It took them a couple of months to find most of these places. How stupid the government bodies must have felt after forgetting to destroy the records of the construction of these sanctuaries that were supposed to be the salvation of the human race. But hey, what's done is done. In my clumsy escape, I leave several traces of my path, possibly the last marks of what was left of my species. Tears would have run down my face from the pain of having seen my civilization fall, but dehydration had taken its toll on me, and I just would not cry. Although I feel remorse upon lamenting my situation, since I had no husband, no children, not even a pet to lose. Others had it way worse. The lives of entire families were cruelly taken as mere sport. Can you believe that? As a hunter, the last thing I expected was to end up as someone else's prey, but still. Hunting the human race to extinction. How ironic. While I was trying to find a place to rest, I ran face to face with one of the monsters that exterminated my race, his big eyes staring at me, stupefied after having surprised him. To my luck, I was fast enough to kill him with a shot before he could react. The echo of the shot flooded the forest, revealing my location. As the body collapsed in front of me, a deep dark color drifted across the blinding snow that surrounded us, the hunter's eyes slowly losing their characteristic blue. After the launch of the Voyager 1 satellite and multiple other signals sent by our species, we successfully managed to be noticed. Humanity did not know what to expect. Theories of the possible destruction of humanity abounded. Perhaps the aliens would treat us like ants, taking us out if we were in their way. The kindest thing was to expect to be ignored after first contact. I mean, why would a species developed enough to make interstellar travel possibly be interested in us? And yet, our expectations were shattered. Our first encounter with an alien race was a total blessing. Promises to improve our technology, our health system, politics, everything. And for a fleeting moment, humanity ascended. A few fleeting years on Earth, and the aliens we contacted, the Darlons, had already improved the Earth exponentially. They created a new golden age for humanity. We would work alongside this new species in which we trusted blindly as a sign of gratitude. We would be integrated into a kind of galactic council in the hope of advancing even further as a species, and thus be able to develop outside of our planet and expand into the stars. Still, learning of the sudden escape of the ambassadors upon realizing the imminent arrival of the Parallax was, to say the least, horrifying. These creatures, similar to octopi and not so different from us in stature, with tentacles for limbs and about 5 eyes set in front of their bulbous faces. Their empire became known for causing the extermination of various developing species on mere whim, and their extensive military force had branded them as criminals of the highest order. Despite this, in front of me lay the inert body of my hunter, for as dangerous as they were supposed to be, a measly Parallax was no match for my decaying carbine. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to enjoy my small victory, as the footsteps of their group were approaching at high speed. As I wiped the remnants of the alien from my face, I resumed my march into the depths of the forest. And what was the Council doing against such a threat, you ask? Absolutely nothing. Despite the myriad of empires at their disposal, and the vast amount of resources they possessed, the losses between the two sides if a fight ever broke out would have been immeasurable, an incredible waste of time and resources for everyone, so they simply threatened each other while staying far enough away from their territories, so as to not start a war. You know, I don't blame the Darlons for abandoning us. What would they have done other than stay and die along with us? We watched helplessly as each of them sped away from our planet. The escape of their species will have taken no more than a week. Their last gift was the warning of the imminent arrival of the Parallax, and the promise to return soon with the help of the Council to save humanity. It has been 3 years since that day, and there is hardly anyone left to wait for them. The first contact with the Parallax was overwhelming. We did our best to resist their attack, but we simply could not compete against their technological level. After the defeat of the world governments, they used us as prey for their sport hunting. They have a very twisted sense of humor. The will of humanity to fight despite having no chance to win was amusing to them. I was lucky to spend several months in the crowds of survivors after the arrival of the Parallax. I took refuge with what little family I had, moving from shelter to shelter, and after the discovery of all the places created by the government, I managed to escape to a small cabin far away from everything, living a quiet, self-sustaining life. I had grown up in the countryside most of my life, and I assumed I would die here, trying to have a peaceful life away from all the chaos. It wasn't recently that in my routine to harvest maple syrup that they finally found me. At first they captured me. They wanted to enjoy one of the last remaining specimens. I wanted to burst into tears, but fear wouldn't let me think of anything but looking for a way to escape. To my good or bad luck, they would use me for a little contest among themselves. They left me back in my home so that I could get ready, and would give me a 30-minute head start before they began their hunt. And with no time to waste, I grabbed my old carbine, my family's last memoir, and ran off into the woods, hoping to find one of those old government shelters. My escape ended when I finally managed to locate an old structure that seemed sufficiently sheltered from the eyes of my pursuers. A storm had hovered over us more than half an hour ago, an event that helped as much as it hurt my escape. I entered without a thought. I felt like I was about to collapse from hours of running in the storm. The place was completely desolate, bullet marks and dried blood everywhere. It was undoubtedly a massacre. After making sure to block the entrance, I barricaded myself in a hidden corner of the bunker I was in. I had nothing else to do but wait out the storm, and try to get some rest before continuing my escape. Still, the feeling of despair would not leave my mind. What else was out there for me? My home had been found, and I was being actively hunted. My time was ticking down. After several hours of waiting, the daylight was gone, though the storm was still at full strength. The hours spent on the run, coupled with the poor sleep I'd been getting for the past week, had finally settled in. I was falling asleep. Although it must be said that I did not fight this urge, deep inside, I felt that if they found me, it would be better to leave in my sleep. I no longer had the strength to fight them. One last thought came to my mind before I lost consciousness. What will the Darlons think when they see that there is nothing left of us? Were they actually getting help? I suppose it did not matter anymore.